Hi guys, thanks for visiting my channel. I just want to say welcome to all of my new subscribers. I've had a slew of you join my channel and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And I have a lot of you who've been asking questions about canning and several of you are new. So today I thought we would do something fun and make some peach jam. Of course it's peach season and jam is one of the easiest, jams and jellies are one of the easiest things to learn to can. So I thought it was the perfect time to do this recipe for you. Now we're going to be doing a low sugar recipe. I've used this small low or no sugar pectin several times and I love it. I love not having to add tons of sugar to my jams and jellies, so I use this very frequently, and that's what we're going to use today. So we get more of the, to me it's more of the fruit flavor, and when you use this you'll have to taste your fruit and see how much sugar you need, because as it says, you can use totally no sugar if you don't want any, if you have really sweet fruit, or you can use up to 1 cup of sugar substitute, or honey. So it's kind of up to you, but it's extremely versatile and this pectin works great. I just love it. So today we're going to be doing some peach. Now this is also a small batch, so you can, many times I've doubled my batch and had no issues doubling. So if you want to double the amount and do if you double the amount, it would be 8 8-ounce jars. Today we're just going to be doing 4 8-ounce jars, and that's your typical jelly jars. So I have, you want to go ahead and get your water bath canner ready, and I have that going, and I have my jelly jars. I washed them and I washed the lids. Modern canning guidelines state that if you're going to be canning for 10 minutes or longer, you no longer have to pre-sterilize anything. Just make sure it's nice and squeaky clean, well rinsed, and you want to make sure your jars are hot. So I'm keeping my jars hot in my water bath canner. You don't want your water boiling, you just want it almost to a simmer. So they're in there, and we're going to get started with our jam. Like I said, this is super simple and it's really quick and super delicious. So you want to start with 3 2/3 cup of crushed peaches, and that's about 7-8 peaches, medium size. You want them nice and ripe. You don't want anything hard. You want to make sure it's got some give to it when you squeeze it. And I just used a regular old potato masher to crush mine. So that's what I have in here. So we're going to go ahead and put that in our pot. And I left mine a little bit chunky. I love chunks of fruit in my jam. So mine's a little bit on the chunkier side, but you can crush it as much or as little as you like. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat on high because we need to bring this up to a boil that cannot be stirred down. So the next thing we're going to add is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and you must use bottled lemon juice for this. And we need a 1/3 of a cup of water. So we're going to stir that all together, and then we are going to add in 3 tablespoons of our pectin. You kind of want to sprinkle it all over so it doesn't coagulate all together in a lump. I'm going to give that a stir, and we want to bring this up to a boil that cannot be stirred down. And once we get to that point, we're going to add our sugar and boil it hard for 1 minute, and then we're ready to start canning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in close so you can see what's going on in my pan, and we'll get started. Okay guys, we're pretty well there. We brought our peaches up to a boil that cannot be stirred down. When you stir it, it should still be boiling. That's what we're looking for. It's taken me about 5 minutes on high heat to get here. So now we're going to go ahead and add our sugar. I'm using 2/3 of a cup. My peaches were sweet, but they were not super sweet, so I want to add enough sugar to them. So went ahead and added my sugar, and then we're just going to keep stirring, and we want it to boil hard for a minute. So you want to keep your heat up on high. Okay guys, our minute is up, so it's time to start canning. As you can tell, there's a little bit of foam on top. I'm gonna skim that off, and then we're gonna get ready to water bath can our jam. Okay. Just gonna skim off some of that foam. That's pretty good. So now we are gonna start canning. Okay, here we go. Take out our jars. Use our funnel, and we are looking for 1/4 inch headspace. We're gonna ladle our jam into our jars. And 1/4 inch is about halfway from the bottom, from the top of the rim to this bottom rim where you twist on the ring. The middle of that is about 1/4 inch. So that's kind of what I use as a guide. And then we're going to use our debubbling tool and debubble. Just go around your jar, release any air bubbles. And then I dip a paper towel in white vinegar and wipe the rims of my jars. And then we're going to place our lids on. Rings, fingertip tight. And lift them into the canner. So pretty, and my kitchen smells good already. It smells like peach heaven. Okay, so we need 2 more jars. Okay, so I didn't get quite 4 8-ounce jars like it said. So I went and grabbed a baby jar, a 4-ounce one, and that's what I got. I got 3.5. So again, we're just going to wipe the rim of our jars. And of course their recipes always say about, so it was about 4 8-ounce jars. Place your lids. And then rings, fingertip tight. And we're gonna put them in our canner. He's cute though, isn't he? Okay, and then what I like to do, I know some people don't like to do this, but I use vinegar, about 2 tablespoons or so, in my water to keep the mineral deposits in my water from depositing and collecting on the outside of my jar. So I go ahead and put that in my canner. And then we're going to lower our jars. You want to make sure the water in your canner covers your jars by at least 1 inch. Ideally, you want 1 to 2 inches. And we're going to put the lid on. Crank our heat up to high and bring it to a full rolling boil. When it gets to a full rolling boil, we are going to process for 10 minutes, and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, we are at a full rolling boil. That's important, full rolling boil. And so now we're gonna start timing. We need 10 minutes. So I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes. When my processing time is up, I'm going to turn my heat off and remove the lid, and we're going to let our jar sit in our canner for 5 minutes. And when we're there, I'll bring you back and show you this delicious jam. For those of you who are new, I just wanted to say that you want to maintain a full rolling boil for your whole processing time. But you can adjust your temperature. I always turn mine down just a little bit because you don't want it crazy boiling, but you want to maintain that full rolling boil so it doesn't have to stay on high. I turn mine down to a medium high heat, and that keeps it at a full rolling boil for me. So you don't want it boiling so hard that it wants to blow your lid off your pot. So I just wanted to say it's fine to adjust your heat. Just make sure you are maintaining a full rolling boil for your whole processing time. Okay guys, our processing time is up, so we're going to turn our heat off, and we're going to remove our lid carefully. Don't give yourself a facial with your boiling water. And we're going to let our jars sit in our canner for 5 minutes, and when our 5 minutes is up, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, our time is up, so now we're ready to remove our delicious jam. See how beautiful that is? Just a great, quick, and easy project. Oh, hear that? They're sealing. And there's my little baby guy. And I'll bring this one up close for you so you can see how beautiful the jam is. Isn't that pretty? So good. And such an easy project, right? And I just want to say, in light of full disclosure, technically you do not need to have a water bath canner if you don't have one. As long as you have a pot that's deep enough to cover your jars with water by 1 to 2 inches, you can use any pot you want, and you don't even really need a rack. You don't want your jars to touch the bottom. And if you had grandparents who canned, you've probably seen them do this. You can just put a kitchen towel in the bottom of your pot, and just so your jars are not in direct contact to the pot that you're using for canning. So technically you don't have to have a water bath canner. You can do it that way. So don't be discouraged from trying jams and jellies if you don't want to make an investment in a water bath canner, but they're great. My canners are worth their weight in gold, and I love them both. Now I did want to give a shout out to this one. Again, I have mentioned this in another video. This is the Victorio, if you can read that okay, water bath canner, and it has a gauge on here that tells you basically when it's hot enough to start timing. So you don't have to go just by looking to see if it's at a rolling boil. The gauge actually tells you that it's the right temperature for canning. So I love that. And it's all stainless steel, so none of it will ever rust, and you won't have any of those issues. So I encourage you to, if you're looking for a new water bath canner, that's a good one. You can get it on Amazon. I think I paid like $65 or something for it. So anyway, you want to let your jars sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. Then remove the rings. Don't ever store your jars with rings on them. Remove the rings, check your seals, wash the outsides of your jars thoroughly, and store them in a cool, dry place. So if you have any questions or concerns or any of that about canning, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Again, I just appreciate all of you so much who subscribe to my channel and support me with all your encouraging and sweet comments. You guys are just amazing, and I just really appreciate all of you. So leave me a comment, leave me a question, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber so you don't miss out on any of the fun, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.